In this video, we're going to look at great language and great questions that you can use when selling during lockdown. Hi, I'm Matt Elwell of the Elite Closing Academy. In this video, we're going to look at great language and great questions that you can use when selling during the lockdown. If this is your first time on here, make sure you press the subscribe button and, much more importantly, ping the notification bell so that you do get all of the information and free training that comes with being subscribed to this channel. I want to cover a question that comes up all the time. People ask it me all the time, people search it all the time. How do I convince the prospect to purchase from me? Here's the truth. Stop trying to convince anybody to do anything. And the reason being is, if you're having to convince a business or another person, just remember, businesses are people, okay? If you're having to convince someone to come towards your solution, there's a few things that you've got wrong. Firstly, you don't understand them deeply and you don't understand what their problems and challenges are. And more importantly, they don't see you or your team or your product or your service as a solution to a problem that they've got. So my advice is, stop trying to persuade or convince and start asking more powerful questions to understand what they need. And once you understand what they need, you're then in a position to make a decision. And the decision is, now I know what you need. Now I know what the problems are. More importantly, now I know that if we don't handle this problem and get it sorted that you're having in your business, there are ramifications and consequences. When you're at that stage, that's the time where, through powerful questions that are linked to working with you, they're called outcome questions, that's where your prospect will see for themselves, will convince themselves that actually you're the solution, your business solves their problem, and they will come towards you. This is the moment when you must ask a closing question. Comment in the box below if you feel like you or your team are finding it difficult around persuasion and convincing. What's your biggest challenge right now convincing other people and businesses to buy your product? During this video, I'm going to show you the 6 words that you must use to increase closing and to get more sales. So, what are the key 6 words that salespeople all over the world should be using right now? They are commonly known as open questions. Sound a bit obvious? Yes, of course it does. But let me write down on this board the 6 questions. I call them the 5 W's and a H. So every single question that you ask during the sales cycle should start with one of these 6 words. The power of it is these words open up the brain, the left-hand side where logic lives, the right-hand side where creativity lives, and avoids the part of the brain where yes and no lives and fear dwells, which is the ancient part of your brain. So, what are the 6 questions? 6 words. What? When? Here comes the H. How? Who? Which? And where? All 6 of these questions are very powerful questions that open the brain up, that challenge the person to think for themselves about the answer. Let me give you an example. Here's a great question. What is it, Mr. Prospect, that you've seen or heard about me, my products or services, that you think would get you a result right now? That's just a really powerful question. Rather than being told, and I class selling and telling as something that we need to steer clear of, we ask a powerful question. When would you like to get started? How many more sales would you need to get for this 12-week sales program of mine to be the greatest decision you've ever made? Who do you know right now who also would benefit from my products or services? There are 2 dates to get started. Monday the 1st of June, Wednesday the 3rd of June. Which one suits you best? And last but not least, where did you first find out about me? All of those are little examples of what we call hard, high quality questions. 5 W's and a H. I promise you, you mastered these 6 words and you mastered the sentences around these 6 words, the data that you extract, the information you get from people completely and utterly changes. The quality of your leads increase, the quality of your conversations increase. Do you know what? This will even affect your life in a really positive way by understanding people around you, just by asking great questions. And I'm a big believer that if you ask a world-class human being a world-class question, you will get a world-class answer. That is how you affect your sales cycle, your conversions and your prospects, particularly the quality of your prospects, enormously. Master these 6 questions, you will improve enormously as a salesperson and as a unit. During this video, I'm going to give you the 3 key objections that we hear all the time, and more importantly, how do you overcome them? The 3 absolute key objections that I hear just about everywhere I go, in just about every single industry, are: I haven't got enough time, I haven't got enough money, or I need to speak to my business partner or partner. The technique that you must use to overcome these standard objections, and let me just be clear, these are not really objections, they're pauses, they're stalls, but let's call them objections for now. So the skill that you need to learn to overcome these is called the 3 A's. The first A stands for agree. This disarms anybody who throws something like a stall at you. So let's give you an example. I'd absolutely love to go ahead, but I just haven't got the time. That is a standard stall in the world of sales. So the first thing you must do is go, of course, time is a problem. Or, I understand that you're pushed for time. So I try and mirror, in fact I don't try, I mirror the words that they've used. So if somebody says, I'd love to go ahead, but I just haven't got the time, I will agree and say, I totally understand you haven't got the time. This is actually really disarming for people, because think about the opposite. What do most salespeople do here when you say I haven't got the time? Their tonality changes, they speed up, they get a little bit flustered, and what happens to your energy? What happens to you when this is happening? It feels a bit uncomfortable. So the thing to do is go into a complete and total and utter position of agreement. Totally understand that time is a problem. That's the first thing. The next thing you have to do is appease. And I'm going to use the third thing here because this happens quite quickly and I want you to see how quickly it actually happens. So the last part is accelerate. And that's accelerate into whatever it is that you decided to do at the very beginning of the call or the face-to-face situation or exchange that you're having. So if your outcome was to close somebody and they start off and they say, you know, let me just go into a live role play. So, you know, hi, is that Mr. Smith? Yeah, who's that? This is Matthew from the Elite Closing Academy. Oh, hi Matthew. Look, the reason for the call today is to get you booked on to my 2-day training in a couple of weeks. Oh, I'd absolutely love to, but I'm a bit strapped for time at the moment. I understand you're strapped for time, so I'm going to get right to the point. What are you doing on the 26th and 27th of April? And I just accelerate into a closing question. That's a really good example of how you agree, appease, and accelerate. Now, you need to use this exact process for all of the objections, all of the stalls. I'd love to, but I'm too busy. I'd love to, but it's more than I want to spend. I'd love to, but I haven't got the time. All of them follow agree, appease and accelerate. And I need to make this clear. It all depends on where you are in the sales process as to what the acceleration is. If you're at the very beginning of the process, then this accelerate question is a prospecting question, such as, I understand you're busy, so let me ask you the question. When would be a good time for us to speak about XYZ? That's a really good example at the beginning. If it's a close, in a close, they're expecting a call. It's a hot qualified lead. You've locked the call back down, they know you're gonna call, and they just chuck in a standard stall. Matt, I'm in a meeting at the moment. Give us a call back at 7. Of course you're in a meeting at the moment. I understand how busy it is, so let me get to the point. How many tickets do you want for the event? What's the 16 digits across your card? I'm just gonna get you booked in. Now for some of you listening to this, you might be thinking, wow, that was a little bit get to the point. This is the point. If you are in a closing conversation, this acceleration must be towards the close. In this video, I'm going to give you 3 simple closing questions. One of the biggest questions I'm constantly asked is, what questions should I be asking when I'm closing? Closing business is, without a shadow of a doubt, the thing that is the difference between success and failure. No question about it. The number of businesses that go out of business in the first 12 months as a result of not closing enough business and therefore not having enough cash in the bank is absolutely astronomical. Here's the great news. Just simple closing questions that you repeat, that are delivered with the right tonality, that are delivered at the right time, and delivered from a position of service, from a position of love, solve all of those problems. Let me give you 3 simple closing questions right now. Before I do, I just want to make something really clear. You have to ask yourself and your staff this question. What is our best closing question? You must arm yourself and your team with a closing question that's congruent with the product and service that you sell, that's congruent with your values and your purpose as people and as a business, and that you're comfortable with. But make no mistake about this, your closing question has to be in your soul. It's got to be instinctive. It has to roll off the tongue. Mine differs depending on what environment I'm selling in, depends on who I'm selling to and when. I'm just going to give you one that works for me when I'm selling tickets to live events with my business partner, Nick James. Here's the closing question. What's the 16 digits across your card? Now, if you're listening to this video thinking, wow, like you can't just ask that, let me just put it into context. This is where you've done all the hard work. You've done the prospecting. You've understood what their pains are. They may have clicked on a link that says, I want a ticket to your event. Something simple like that. It's called a hot qualified lead. And all you have to do is just close the business. So don't ask a coaching question. Don't ask a prospecting question. Ask a closing question. What's the 16 digits across your card? Maybe you're in the corporate world and something like this might be better. Great, so we're ready to go ahead. Who do I send my invoice to? Simple closing question and stop speaking. Ask the question, stop speaking. It's a closing question and it works. Here's another one that we use all the time. There are 2 dates to get started, the 1st of May or the 1st of June. Which one suits you best? Ask the question and stop speaking. Those are 3 great examples in different environments of closing questions. Let me make this really clear. If you want to close more business, here's the only thing you need to do. Agree what the most congruent, powerful closing question is for your products or services, and ask it as many times as physically possible, delivered with great tonality at the right time. It will smash your current results through the roof. If this has been helpful, do 3 things. Subscribe, hit the notification button, and click on the videos above for even more of this world-class closing training.